Hello programmers. Today we are going to explore three fundamental functions in Python: print, input and len. These functions are essential tools that you will use in almost every Python program you write. So let's dive in. Before we start, please subscribe to my channel if you have not done so far. That motivates me to create more such videos. So let's start with the print function. So print function is your go-to tool for displaying output in Python. It takes a value inside its parenthesis and displays it on the screen. Let's try it out. I am entering the Python shell. So now I am inside the Python shell. So the print will take the argument. Let's say my argument is hello world, and this argument should be enclosed within quotes, might be single quotes or double quotes. And when you just run this print of something inside as an argument, it will just print that value to the screen. So let's look at another example. Print what is your name. So when you just execute it, it will print whatever we have given as an argument in the screen. When Python executes these lines, we say it is calling this print function, which is an inbuilt function in Python, and the string value that is inside this parenthesis is being passed to the function, and we call this value as an argument. And some key points about this print is that we provide quotes, and our string will go inside the quotes, and these quotes will not be printed in the output. And we can also just run print statement so that an empty line or a blank line will be printed. So you can see that an empty line is printed, and these parentheses identify this print is a function in Python. And the next one is the input function. So the input function is how we get input from the user. When the input function is called, it waits for the user to type something and press enter. Let's say that I'm just assigning something to my name. So I wanted to read this from the user. In that case, I'll just tell this as input. If I just run this, it will wait for the user to enter something and press enter. So when I execute this, so it's just staying in this line. It's not going anywhere. So it is asking me to enter something. Let's say that I am entering Dinesh. So Dinesh is value assigned to my name. If I now call my name, it will print Dinesh. So basically, this input function does two things. It calls the input function, which prompts the user to type something. In this case, I have typed my name, and it assigns this to the variable that it is assigned, which is my name in this case. And you can think of this input as an expression that evaluates to whatever the user typed. If the user types something else, let's say I'm again telling my name is input. Let's say I'm typing AI. Now it will tell my name is AI. So whatever the user has typed, it will assign that to the variable. In case if you see name error when you are using this input function, you might be using Python 2 instead of Python 3. Make sure you are using the correct version of Python before using this input function. Now let us try to combine this input function and the print function. And we can use this input and print functions together to create interactive programs. Let's say I want to print what is your name, and then I want to say my name equal to input. Let's say I have this thing, it will wait for the user to give input, and user will look for this. So user knows that it is asking for your name, and I'll type something, and input is assigned to my name. Then we can print It's nice to meet you, followed by my name. Then see, it initially asked for what's your name, and then I have given Dinesh. Then it has printed, it's nice to meet you, Dinesh. Basically, what you can see here is in the last line. So we are basically concatenating some string and the user input, and this result, this concatenated string is being passed to this print. Now let's look at the len function. So the length function is used to get the length of a string or any other sequence type, maybe list or a tuple or a dictionary. But we will learn about length of the list, tuple, dictionary in another video. But it takes a string as an argument and returns the number of characters in that string. So let's say that we have my name, which is Dinesh. It has 1, 2, 3, 6 characters. And if we just run length of my name, it will return 6. It will count the number of characters in a string and it will return that value. And we can use this len function with string literals also. Let's say you want to find length of hello world, so it will print the length of all the characters. And you can also have big sentences. This is a big sentence for now. Oh, there is a syntax error, we need to close this parenthesis. Okay, so it's used to find length of anything, any string. But if you just pass an empty string, it will say it's of length 0. So thing to note, that is the empty string will have a length of 0. Now we have to be careful when we are mixing data types like strings and integers in your expressions. Python is strict about the types of data you can combine. For example, if you want to print I am Dinesh and I am plus 29 plus years old. If we do this, we are basically trying to concatenate the string and integer and a string. It will fail because Python can only concatenate a string with another string, not with an int. So as we have seen in the previous video, we can only use plus operator between string and a string or an integer and an integer. So to fix these kind of things, we need to convert this 29 into string before we use it. Now it will print. So I'm Dinesh and I'm 29 years old. Some practical tips while using print would be you can use print liberally in your programs, especially when you are debugging. It's a great way to see what's happening in your code. When using input, it's good practice to print a message first, telling the user what kind of input you are expecting. And the len function is particularly useful when you need to check if a user's input meets certain length requirements or not. Let's say that user is typing a name, and if the length of name is less than one character, it doesn't make any sense, right? So we can check that. Or if you are expecting an user to set a password, and if the password is less than a number of characters, you can do some test using the len function. And also remember that input always returns a string. Even if the user types a number and you need a number, you will have to convert it. And we will learn how in future lessons. So for example, so my age is input and I'm entering 29. And if you check the type of my age, it would be class of string, not an integer. In this case, you need to do typecasting. You need to convert this my age into integer. So whenever you are reading something from the input, it will always be string. For any other data types, you need to do typecasting, something like this. Practice using these functions in combination. Try writing a small program that asks a user for his name and age, then print out how many characters are there in their name and how old they will be in 10 years from now. Remember, have fun and experiment. Happy coding.